All right, at the end of the year, it is nice to look back and see what captured our imagination and sparked our interest. And really, I mean, the conversations can be around headlines, it can be around world events. Sometimes in my house, it's fun to sit back and take a look at what was hot in pop culture. So, specifically this year, it's centered around female empowerment, and you could not get away from the power of Taylor Swift and also the Barbie movie. So, back on the show, say hi to Professor Erin Myers. She is from Oakland University. She studies celebrity pop culture. She's an author as well. Welcome back to the show. It's good to see you, Erin.
Hi, great to be back.
Yeah, so when you look back at 23, would you label it the year of Taylor?
The year of Taylor, and I would say also the year of Beyonce. I mean, between the two of them, they dominated the concerts, landscape. They dominated our popular culture attention. They boosted economies wherever they went. So I think between the two of them, that they really helped push the idea of female empowerment into the foreground this pop culture year.
When you look at that, and really when you say boosted economies, that is not taken lightly when we saw both of those tours and then go internationally and how people went to them. They traveled there, they poured money into the economy of the cities that they were visiting, the merchandise, and then both of these women able to bring out movie presentations of what those tours were is really they showing themselves as they have been for years, but I really think it's imprinted of the business acumen that both of these women have.
Absolutely. I think that they are both incredibly smart when it comes to how to manage their image and get it out there for people in a variety of contexts. Not all of us could get the tickets to the shows, so to make those movies was a really smart move by both of them, I think.
Is there ever then a sense, and especially Erin, I'm going to start first with Taylor Swift because of everything else that is surrounding her new relationship, that she is on the verge of burning out her fan base? Or where are we, do you think? I mean, everything is cyclical.
This is definitely true. I mean, we certainly love to build people up and celebrate them, but then historically we have also really liked, well, maybe not liked, but we've participated in watching their downfall. I think in some ways celebrity culture has changed and we're not looking at women in quite the same way, not quite as vicious. I think you can look at Britney Spears as an example of that. But I think that there's definitely among some people some Taylor fatigue, but I think that the diehard Swifties are still going to go strong for quite some time.
I think it's interesting that you said that maybe people aren't as rabid as in the past about the joy of bringing people down. Why do you think that has changed?
I think there's a lot of change in culture more broadly. We've thought more about mental health issues and are more open and able to discuss them. And so that plays a role in it. I think there's also a sense of recognizing the harm that social media can do and the way that people can online, act in particular ways and make particular kind of statements that actually are very hurtful. I'm not saying it's 100% gone and perfect, but certainly things have gotten better than from when I first was looking at celebrity culture online in the early to mid 2000s.
I want to ask you about Beyonce and the choice of her to bring her daughter along on tour and to have her as part of the show in this next generation of performer. We have seen also, not a trend, but you're seeing more and more celebrities who are incorporating their growing children, their teenagers and young adults into the business, I guess you could say.
Well, we've had celebrity babies as a part of the image or part of the presence of a celebrity for quite some time, though not always in the performing side, right? Like Blue Ivy did this time around. I think it's, a savvy choice because it's a way for Beyonce to control the way that her daughter is presented and help her daughter control the way that she is presented, as opposed to just, those paparazzi pictures of kids at the playground or those kinds of things. So it lets her have some agency and control in what she does in the public eye in a way that I think people have generally responded to in a pretty positive way.
I want to get back to the conversation of female empowerment and conversations around mental health and supporting and uplifting people instead of tearing them down. I think that's one of the large messages from the Barbie movie. Did the traction of that movie surprise you in the way it was done and I think the tale that it still has?
It really did. I mean, I was very excited to see it myself, but the way that particularly my students have responded to it and are still talking about it and have talked about the issues related to it, I think is something that people never really thought this movie and this topic would be able to do.
What specifically are the things that your students are telling you about it, how it impacted them generationally?
I think they particularly like the way that it brings up issues of feminism and issues of empowerment and issues of oppression too. The idea that things don't always need to look one way. We can, be the weird Barbie. We can be the different types of Barbies, and to think about the complexity of what gender looks like, particularly with Ken and the idea of what the men are doing in this kind of moment in time as well, is something that I think a lot of my students have been talking about.
All right, Erin, what are you looking forward to as we kind of roll into 24? What are you going to be studying?
Well, I always like award shows. I'm glad that we made it through the writers and actors strike so that we can see those award show moments happening again, because the glitz and glamour of that just is always the best for me. And, I'm sure we'll hear more rumors about Taylor Swift. I managed to work her into my classes unexpectedly throughout the entire year. So I'm sure that there'll be more Taylor Swift news that we can talk about in all sorts of facets of thinking about media and culture.
Yeah, it's interesting because now there are several universities that have classes specifically dedicated to Taylor Swift and her music and the way she's written and then the way she has handled her business. And also in our media business, there's a dedicated reporter for Gannett covering Beyonce and a dedicated Taylor Swift beat reporter as well.
Yeah, I think that really says something about celebrity culture not being just that fun and entertainment part, which it definitely is. But as we were saying before with Beyonce and Taylor, impacting economies, impacting changes in how we think about, distribution of media and music. All these kinds of things are being impacted by celebrity, not just a fun thing to look at when you have some free time.
You know what, let me ask you one real quick thing before I let you go. It makes me think about influence, especially in politics. So we are going into the 24 election season, and I'm thinking about the voice that Taylor Swift and Beyonce both have. Should they choose to use it in one way or another? What are you thinking about that?
I mean, I think that at the end of the day, they are still people that have their own political views. How they decide to do that is up to them. I think there's a lot of ways that celebrity can be misused in a political sense, but there's a sense that, part of their brand, particularly for Taylor, I would say, is built on authenticity. And Taylor being open and honest, and she has been for a while about her political beliefs. And I think that would be consistent. And at this point, to not say something would perhaps upset her fan base in the sense that they're used to having that kind of access to her thoughts.
Yeah, there is going to be no shortage of things to watch on this. Erin Myers, Oakland University professor studying pop culture and author. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll have you back in the new year for sure.
Thank you.